Hello and welcome to Introduction to Veterinary Technology. It's VTHT 1001. My name is Elizabeth Warren and I will be your instructor for the lecture section of this class. Gail DeMena is your instructor for the clinical portion. And you can reach us at the email addresses or phone numbers below. Probably the best way to reach me if you need me is to send me an email. I check that several times a day, every day. And the phone I will answer if I'm sitting at my desk, but I don't sit at my desk very much, so you'll probably end up leaving a voicemail. And I just noticed that Gail's email address has a typo, so it is austincc.edu, no I. If you'd like to meet with us in person, then get in touch with us by one of these methods above, and we'll set up a time for you to come in and talk to us. The lecture portion of this class is at Highland Business Center, and we meet in room 407. The clinical portion is out at various clinical sites in the community, and you'll get more information about that on the first day of class. This is a regular 16-week course. We meet for a total of 64 hours, and that means that lecture every week is 2 hours, clinical every week is 2 hours. Lecture is on Thursdays in the evening, 6:30 to 8:30, and clinicals are on Fridays, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So we're just going to take a quick tour through the syllabus, and you'll get more information again on your first day of class. What we do in the intro class is take a broad view of all of the things that you might do if you're working as a veterinary assistant in a veterinary hospital. So we spend a lot of time in lecture talking about the fundamental principles. We talk about front office management. We talk about diseases. We talk about preventive healthcare programs. We talk about the human-animal bond. And things of that nature. In the clinical section, you actually put your hands on the animals and you get an idea of all of the basic things that you'll do as a veterinary assistant, but we don't expect you to master any skills other than safe handling of dogs and cats and working with your colleagues to safely handle dogs and cats. So you get an introduction to some other things like giving medications, trimming toenails, drawing a blood sample, taking an x-ray. You'll get to see what it looks like to assist with anesthesia and surgical procedures. And then all of those things you cover in much more detail in future classes. So the class is designed for people who have minimal experience working in a veterinary hospital. But it's also a good review. If you do have experience working in a veterinary hospital, it's a good review and perhaps covers some topics that you just haven't gotten to yet in your job in your veterinary hospital, or maybe we'll talk about procedures that you just don't do in your hospital. So all of the classes in the veterinary assistant program are treated as if they were credit classes, which means that we will evaluate you and we'll give you a grade and we'll record that grade. And we do that for a couple of reasons. And one is to document your skills mastery. If you go on and complete the program and take the Certified Veterinary Assistant exam, I'm required to document that you've mastered skills throughout the program. And two, if you decide to go on and complete an associate's degree in veterinary technology, I'll be required to share your grades in your classes with the program that you transfer into. So I do this by giving you exams and giving you homework assignments and also keeping track of your attendance in class, your participation in our discussions, and you get a skills checklist. And this is mostly for you to use so that you can keep track from week to week of things that you've seen, things that you've actually had a chance to do, maybe even things that you've had a chance to teach someone else. But although I will look at your skills checklist at the end of the semester, and note that you've completed that assignment, you don't get a grade for that, and it's not based on your mastery of skills on that list. So how do you get your grades? Well, you have exams, that's half of your grade, and then you have the participation and homework portion, which is another half of your grade. And the grading scale is typical, A, B, C, and then for our program, below a C is no credit, meaning that you can't progress in the program. Should also note that if you fail to master those basic meaning safety related skills and teamwork related skills, if you fail to master those skills, or you have an attitude of gross negligence, meaning that you know what you should do and you decide to do otherwise, then you will not pass this class. And I have to mention that although I've never had to give someone a no credit for those reasons, it is always possible. And we have to keep that in mind because above everything else, the safety of the animals that we work with, of ourselves, of your colleagues, is number one. The book that we use for this class is Tasks for the Veterinary Assistant, and you can get that, if you like, from the ACC bookstore. Whoops. It's available from the ACC bookstore. It's also available from just about any other textbook dealer that you might look at, and Amazon and other booksellers. The recommended textbook, I will say, is probably only recommended for those of you who are pretty sure that you are going to go on and complete an associate's degree in veterinary technology. This is a really big textbook. It covers much more than we do in our veterinary assistant program. And so if you are just interested in knowing more, you could get this clinical textbook. But really it's an investment that you will want to make if you are pretty sure you're going to go on after this program and pursue an associate's degree. Okay, so what do? We spend time on Thursday nights doing some lecture and discussion, and we do some clinical prep, which means that there are things that we talk about, and then there are things that we practice doing. So for example, if you are going to learn how to, say, give a cat a pill on a particular clinical day, well, the night before we will talk about giving cats pills, and you'll practice using one of my cat models in the classroom. Course goals you can look through on your own. It's a pretty detailed list of all of the different topics of discussion and skills that you'll be introduced to over the course of the semester. And I wanted you to take particular note of this line: skills will be demonstrated in practice based on the availability of suitable animals at the clinical site. What that means is that we are at a clinical site as a guest of that clinical site, and they don't necessarily always have animals on hand that are suitable for us to work with. Now, they may very well have animals in the facility, but that doesn't mean that those animals are good for us to work with. So the schedule that we have planned out is always tentative because you just never know until you get there who will be there. Requirements and regulations. We require 90% attendance in all of our classes in order to successfully complete the course and move on in the program. Attendance is coming to class on time, staying for the entire time. You're all adults, so if you have to come in late or leave early or miss a day, that is entirely understandable, and it's also entirely up to you to make sure that you get any notes that you missed, that you turn in any assignments that are due, that you communicate with me and let me know what's going on. For your assignments, there's assigned reading every week. Not every week, but most weeks there's written homework assignments. And then you have 3 exams over the course of the semester. 2 of them are take-home, which means that I give you the questions one week and they are due the next week. The last exam is on the last day of class, and it is in class, and it usually takes the entire class period, but it is an open resource exam. If you turn in assignments or exams late, that's fine, better late than never. I will count them off 1 letter grade per week that they are late. Safety, again, you have to follow all of your instructors' directions all of the time when you're on the clinical site. Dress code, there's none for lecture. Come to class and be comfortable. On Fridays, at your clinical site, you'll need to wear a scrub top, long pants, and closed shoes that have a non-skid bottom. You also wear a student ID badge so everybody knows who you are, and that will be provided for you by your instructor. At your clinical sites, you should park in the areas that are outlined by your instructor. Usually those are to the side or the back of the facility. Again, we are guests at these clinical sites and we want to leave the best parking to the clients of that facility. While you're at the facilities, you are usually working in areas that are generally restricted, which means that you get to go to places where members of the general public don't get to go. That is only during class time. So if you go to any of these facilities outside of class time, then you go back to being a member of the public. Only students who are registered in the class can go into the restricted areas, period. Common courtesy, again, you guys are all adults, so I shouldn't need to go through rules of common courtesy with you, but again, I do want to make a point of telling you to silence devices, especially during clinicals. A loud noise that's unexpected can certainly startle a patient that you're working with, and that can cause a problem. Otherwise, it's just disruptive. Additional resources. So in addition to your textbook, there's regular handouts. And I try to minimize the amount of paper I have to use, so a lot of your handouts are online and a lot of them are available through Blackboard. Other resources that you might use, VSPN and VetMed Team are both online communities for veterinary professionals, primarily veterinary technicians and veterinary assistants, so you can go and look at their libraries. The VSPN notebook is a very good resource. They have message boards. They occasionally do CE classes. So those are good things to check out, and they're free. We're not going to look at the schedule specifically here, but again, it's a tentative course schedule. And usually at some point in the semester, there's something that interrupts the schedule and I have to issue a revised course schedule. So for every week, we have planned lecture topics and reading material associated with that planned topic, and then your planned clinical tasks as well. And again, you will get much more information about your syllabus and schedule on the first day of class, and I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you.